Let's just be grateful I remembered to shut off the fan and AC before I started filming. Hey guys, it's been a minute, and don't worry, this is not an explanation video about why I've been gone, I promise. I kind of just forget this channel exists sometimes because I upload on my regression channel so often now, but I still love making content over here, and I love making non-regression content as well, so I really want to keep doing that. And in order to kind of get back into the swing of things today, I was thinking, why not talk about my journey through religion? I have a pretty long history when it comes to religion and trying out different religions and seeing what fits me. And if you've seen any of my more recent videos on this, you would know that I'm Wiccan. I am a witch. Being a witch isn't a religion, it's a practice. Wicca is the religion. But that is what I identify with, and that's what I have said my religion is for the past, I want to say it's been about 3 years now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my start in religion, how I was raised, and things like that. And again, this is something to remember in that this is my personal experience with religion. This is not to dictate how anybody else feels about any particular religion. I think there are a wide array of religions in the world, and there has to be some truth to all of them for them all to exist. And I will be talking a little bit about my disdain for Christianity, but this is not an attack on Christians. This is just my perspective on my personal experience with the church. No qualms about Christians. My partner is literally Christian, and I used to be Christian myself, so it's not the beliefs that I have a problem with, it's the structure surrounding it and the people that make it up that tend to be an issue for me. So without further dilly-dallying, let us get into it. Growing up, I was raised in a Christian household. I don't really remember in my young years if there was a religion around in the family. I know my mom grew up Christian and my dad was actually Catholic growing up. But again, I don't remember much from my early childhood, so good luck there. But we were raised in a Lutheran household. So the church that I went to growing up followed the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, the LCMS, which if you've read, yikes. I might get into that in another video, but ooh, it's rough. And like, when you think of people that give Christians a bad name, obviously the first one that comes to mind is the Westboro Baptist Church. This church in the LCMS has very, very similar views to the Westboro Baptist Church, and so growing up as a queer kid in the church, that was kind of difficult. My parents decided it was a good idea to get me baptized when I was like 9 or 10, and I will say, in my opinion, I don't think it's appropriate to get a child baptized. I think you need to wait until that child is old enough to make that decision for themselves and to see if that's something that they want. So even at 9 and 10, I did not have enough world knowledge to know that being a Lutheran Christian was something I wanted to commit to, and I was kind of forced into that through the baptism. And I remember being a teenager and looking back at that and that making me really uncomfortable because it made me feel like I didn't have a say, I didn't have room for my opinion, and it was something that was kind of being pushed onto me. And this is also not an attack on my parents. I know that they tried to raise me and do what they thought was right, and while I do disagree with some of the things they did, like pushing the religion on me, we have come to an understanding with each other where we respect our mutual religions and respect each other and are okay talking about it with each other. So people do grow, but I never felt connected to Christianity. I never felt a connection with the church. A lot of the stories that they would tell in sermon I would find just really nonsensical, and not only that, but the specific church that we went to was incredibly gatekeeping. I mean, the people there were so judgmental towards anyone who had a walk of life even somewhat different than their own. And that's kind of what led us as a family to eventually leave that church and go to another Lutheran church, which the people at this other church were better. The Missouri Synod, however, was not. I also felt incredibly singled out and unaccepted because they would talk about being gay or being queer, and they would always put it in a negative light and say it was something like a perversion or a choice and that queer people would go to hell. And as a young queer person growing up in an environment where I had to hear that, it was very damaging. And as a teenager, I did end up trying to immerse myself in the church and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I believe. I'm gonna take part in the worship service. I will play worship music for the little coffee shop hour before church starts. And I did. I got into it and I would read the Bible, I would pray, I tried my best to learn everything about it, but something about it just never felt right. It never stuck. And some of it always felt forced. It didn't feel like it was a natural thing for me. It felt like I was doing this as a way to be accepted by those around me, which is not something I do usually or am good at. I am very big on living my truth no matter what the people around me think. So this was an interesting situation because I wanted so badly to be loved and accepted by my family that I forced myself to try and believe and engage into a religion that I didn't connect with. Around 13 years old, I got really fed up with the things that I was hearing in the church. And as almost every queer 13-year-old growing up in the church does, I decided it was time to rebel a little bit. Now, not rebel in the traditional way, but I thought, what was the religion that would piss my parents off the most? And that happened to be theistic Satanism. So I was researching Satanism, and I even LaVeyan Satanism, even though that's not what I was really practicing at the time. I was just researching on Satanism and the tenets of it, and all of, it's not guidelines, it's not commandments, because it's not like the church, but their morals and things like that. And I really agreed with it. I thought that the Church of Satan was absolutely awesome. And the thing about Satanism, that it sounds scary and it sounds like, oh, devil worship, but it's not. It is really ultimately about worshiping yourself and knowing that you yourself are divine and respecting your fellow being as you want to be respected. The morals of Satanism are bloody fantastic, and I really agreed with it. But Satanism was a very scary term, and of course, that's the one that would freak my parents out the most. I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them I was a Satanist. I just started practicing and believing behind closed doors, and then they found out. My parents were the kind to monitor any and all internet activity in the house growing up, so they could see the websites that I was going to, and like they got a report emailed to them each month, and they were seeing that I was looking up Satanism and the Church of Satan and other religions, not just Satanism. I was looking up other stuff too because I just wanted to learn, and they blocked them. They blocked them all. I could not access information about other religions except for Christianity online. All the keywords were blocked. It wouldn't let me search it. It would come up to an origin block on the screen and say, you're not allowed to visit this. So that is just a little bit frustrating. That was definitely frustrating to me growing up. But because it was all blocked, I just said, screw it, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just an atheist. And I knew that I wasn't really an atheist because I felt like there was some sort of divine power out there, but I would just call myself an atheist or agnostic to make it a little bit easier and not have to deal with the absolute shit show that was explaining religion. After that, I tried to be Christian again. I really tried. I was probably 15, 16, going to church with them again and trying to get into it, but the sermons still didn't stick and they still made me uncomfortable. So it was a pretty quick in and out there where I went in and was like, I'm gonna try again, and then was like, and backed my way out. So I kind of stopped any and all research until I was about 19, because when I was about 19 was when I moved out of my parents' house, and so I was living outside of their domain, which meant for like the first time in my life I didn't have to follow their rules, including the looking up different religions rule. So I started searching things, and one thing that I'd always been drawn to hearing about was witchcraft. I always thought it was super cool that people could use natural energies in the world to direct change, and that is really something that I wanted to do. And I also took an interest in a lot of older pagan religions, things like Hellenism, Druids. I mean, I was very interested in this. And through looking up witchcraft and paganism, I found Wicca. I started to do as much research as I absolutely could on Wicca. I'm talking reading as many books as I can, buying them, downloading them, looking up different articles online, interacting with people in the community through Tumblr and Instagram, learning from other witches and Wiccans, and that kind of stuck, and I'm still doing that to this day. To a little bit lesser degree, I'm not as research heavy anymore, even though I still have loads to learn, loads to learn. You never stop learning in this religion, ever. But I'm not like sitting down doing an hour and a half work of Book of Shadows research every single day like I was. After about 2 months of doing consistent research and reading, I decided to start my own Book of Shadows. I actually started two, one for information stuff like research, history, correspondence, and one for more in-practice stuff like spell work that I do and spells that I write and information on tarot. And I also started a mirror book where I could keep track and journal my experiences in the craft as well as my interpretations of my divination readings. And that's basically how I got to where I am today. I am a proud practicing Wiccan witch, and I have a feeling that this religion is one that is going to stick with me because I really do believe in the power of the goddess and the god, and I don't have names for those specific deities at this point. I just worship a divine feminine and a divine masculine. It's not that I see them as an actual person like in the sky dictating this and that. It's more of an energy field, a balance. Like, it's just something that exists. They're not people, but they're the trees, the rocks, the ground, the earth, and their energy is everywhere. And that's something that I really resonate with. But I won't keep going on. That is pretty much how I got to where I am today and my full journey through religion. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content from me, I post a fuck ton of different stuff. I mean, it really is just a hodgepodge of whatever I want on this channel. You can subscribe. I don't post over here as frequently as I would like. I am more often than not on my age regression channel, which is linked down in the description if you want to see that kind of content. And I'm not really on my main social media at this point either. I'm only on my regression socials. That just seems to be where I like to mainly keep myself on the corner of the internet. I like the age regression community and I kind of stay there. But I will be making an effort to post more main videos, stuff like this. I'm gonna post more vlogs on my vlog channel. I have plans. If you want to help support me and my content, I have a Ko-Fi linked down in the description where you can leave me a tip for just the price of a coffee, and all of those seriously help me so much. I love you guys so very much, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.